Hey y'all, this is Chainsaw Repair Guy coming at to you. Um, this is the first video of the series. So there's going to be multiple videos going up. Not going to be a whole lot of them all at once, but this is just going to be the first video of the channel. Decided that putting out some knowledge to people who need help with their chainsaws or whatever. So today we are going to be taking apart a Jonsered 525. It's been pretty well used. Buddy of mine said, see what you can do with it. It's got some issues. So anyways, this is what we're going to do with it. So he has complained. I'm going to basically refer him as a customer, but he is a buddy of mine. He's actually one of my really good friends. Anyways, he says that after a while, the fuel starts pouring out and it feels hot. So there's something wrong with it. So we need to dig into it and figure out what it is. I have experience with a lot of different chainsaws. Not so much the Jonsered, but we're about to find out, of course. Phone goes off. But anyways, so we're going to tear into the sucker and see what's wrong with it. We're going to find out all the miscellaneous things we need to figure out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to first take off the air cleaner. And for y'all that don't know, this is basically a how-to video. This is not professional. I've been working on these saws working on all saws for a good 15 years. These I don't have very much experience in, but most chainsaws are all the same with some slight differences. So it looks like we got a lot of buildup in the air cleaner area and even down in the port here. So let's see if we can take you guys nice and steady. See if I can adjust my lighting here. So you can see down on the carburetor it's pretty well dirty. So like I said, it's a very very well used saw. This is Jonsered 525. Buddy has used it for a ditch digger because that's what he thought it was all good for. The only thing it was good for, so we got our work cut out for us. So let's get to it. And I'm really hoping this video turns out well. I'm sorry if it doesn't turn out very well, but I'm doing this off my phone. And eventually, once we start getting subscriptions to the channel, we will start upgrading our camera equipment, and then we'll start putting out some better quality videos. So just bear with me for a little while. I know it's not the best, but we'll work with what we got. So next thing is we're going to take out the spark plug. So you can see on the spark plug it's got some oil buildup, but it's actually not bad. It actually might help if I give you some light. So spark plug gaps looks a little tight, but I also have some vintage chainsaws that run a bigger gap, so I'm not really terribly worried about it. Actually, I'm going to put the sucker back in real quick and sawdust. So anyways, now we got that done, now we can start turning this thing down. Okay, so there's that. And we're going to get our 1/2-inch wrench, which I do not see up here. Why do I not have my wrench up here? There we go. Okay. Oh, good lord, dude. do that. I'm just going to use my impact on this guy. 5/8. It's got to be up here. Cut it out. Half-inch right here. Okay, sorry y'all. So anyways, let's get this thing torn down. Now, why can't I find these? This is ridiculous. There it is. Sorry, I'm switching from attachments for my little impact. Wow, the sucker's on there. I gotta crack it loose real quick. And by the way, this is not a very powerful cordless impact, and the battery's probably halfway dead by now, so it's not at its full extent. So I'm not really just reefing on these suckers. So all you professional chainsaw enthusiasts or professional chainsaw repair guys, don't be bashing on this. So there we go. Yeah, he used it for a ditch digger. It's alright. We'll get it all cleaned out. Give it to him looking almost brand new. You know, of course. Let's see what I can show you. So, pulled this out of the top here. And even got some on even the chain guard. We're just going to dispose of that in the garbage can. Let's take the chain off. There we go. Chain actually doesn't look bad for it being in a ditch. So we'll put that on the hook. Oops. And I drop it. Look at that. So we'll take the bar off. Look at the bar down the grooves. What you actually really want to look for in here is you want to look to see if it free spins. So it spins pretty good. So we really don't need to worry about it. We'll grease it up. We'll clean it all out. Put some degreaser in it and then clean it out. Grease it back up. Clutch here looks actually in pretty good shape. So there's actually little indicators on the clutches here. I'll be able to tell you when they need to be replaced. You can't exactly see them. Yeah, this one doesn't actually have them. So disregard my thought there. So this is actually going to be a pretty decently long video. So if you guys have something you need to do or something, save this video, come back to it. If you're really looking at on how to get all this, to get your Jonsered 525 working or whatever, we'll go through the complete process. This is just going to be an extremely long video for it. But anyways, let's continue going. There's been a lot of dirt buildup in here, which is actually one of the things that I did not appreciate when I got the saw. A buddy of mine, when he's fed up with something, he uses it for something that's really not meant to be used for. And also, look at that. We got a bolt missing. So that tells me that there's probably an exhaust leak probably back behind the manifold, and I'm gonna have to probably find another one. So let's get the rest of the body torn apart here. So these are gonna be all Torx. Okay. I'll just leave these in here. I'll flip this sucker over and see what we can find here. Everything looks good in here. Sorry, I'm probably out of frame on that one. So everything looks pretty good. Pretty well clean. So it doesn't look like there's any issues with that. There's no slop in the flywheel. That's a good thing. Come on. Actually, I can take the bar off real quick, or the handle off. Make it just a little bit easier to access everything. And that has a return clip. That's fantastic. Okay. So I actually really hate doing these ones that have the retainer clips, the C-clips on them. But whatever. When you get a job, you got to do it. So let's see how we're doing on camera. Okay. We're doing okay. Let's get in here. Take this sucker out. And what I recommend doing is when you take a saw apart, put all the pieces back on it. So it makes it a little bit easier to find them, especially when most likely we're going to have to wait for parts on this guy. So I'm not always going to be able to remember exactly where every bolt goes, considering that I don't work on these ones a whole lot. Like on my McCulloch, I have a 1973 McCulloch Super Pro 81 that I have, and I will be doing a video on that one because there's not actually any videos out for that one. So I'll be doing a complete teardown and rebuild on that one again. It works just fine, but just for video content, we are going to do one, and then we'll do a lot of things with it. So anyways, now that we got the bar grip off, we can take the rest of it off. Let's see what we got here. Looks like this thing's held on by that guy. And then screwdriver. I'm going to use a longer screwdriver because I really don't have a short one. Kind of sucks when you let people use your tools and you don't get them all back. So, got to get some new tools, and no one is ever going to touch my tools again. There we go. And then that's that. So there you go. That's how you take that off. Let's see if we can find the rest of it. I'm going to put this screw back in here. These things can get lost in a hurry. And besides, we don't really need to be messing with anything else around in this area other than taking off like a couple bolts here, here, and then here. So probably not even going to mess with that, but if we end up doing that, we'll just keep that sucker in there so it doesn't get lost. And I've got dirt all over my bench. That's fantastic. Huh. Well, that's Sweet. And probably pretty sure it's around here somewhere. We'll just continue with what we got. So anyways, you got your rub thing here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna continue taking the top off so we can inspect the internals of this. Because I'm not really worried about anything else right now other than the fact that a buddy of mine, he's complaining of the saw overheating or the fuel boiling or something along those lines. And I'd rather just tear into it and figure out what's wrong with it instead of doing a full inspection on it. Most people will say, well, that's not a good idea, but this is how I've been working on saws for a very long time, and I have had no saws that have never worked again. So, anyways, looks like we got a Walbro carburetor, fully adjustable, highs, lows, idle, everything. So, probably what we'll do is we'll clean everything out. We'll take everything off, clean it, put new gaskets in it, the whole 9 yards, and then we'll go from there. The motor is fantastic right now. The head of it's just completely clean, which is actually quite surprising, especially with the way that the customers put this through. So there's the throttle linkage, just falls right out. So this thing, I'm pretty certain this thing is overheating somewhere, but I have a feeling it has something to do with exhaust. But who knows? This thing is, I mean, honestly, you could probably have a crack in the fuel tank, and then it just gets hot from there. So I bet you this thing has no fuel in it. Well, it's got fuel in it. Some rancid fuel though. So, okay. Let's figure out what we need to take the exhaust off, and then we'll go from there. It's going to be 8 mil. I don't want to use the impact on these until after I break them loose, because I don't want to end up, you know. Let's see here. What we got here? Quarter. I guess I could have just used that. And these Swedish saws are actually really nice, but they are kind of a pain to work on sometimes. Well, there's no hole in it, but you can definitely see where there's some exhaust leak. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. You can see that right along the edge here. Grab a screwdriver. So right along the edge here, that's exhaust leak. It's like right on the edge. So it's leaking pretty good. It looks like it's been hit here. So, oh yeah, that's definitely an exhaust leak. You can see all the char around the gasket. The gasket itself is fine. It just doesn't look like it was correctly installed. So, that's just the nature of the beast sometimes. We are gonna have to get another bolt. So I'll take this down to like auto parts store. I'll get another bolt, and then we'll go from there. So what we'll do now is inspect the internals of this. It looks like everything's pretty well fine. we'll do that. Huh. So anyways, you can also see, adjust my light. As you can see, a lot of the gasket has failed and it's been leaking. I don't know if it's recent or if it's been doing that for a while, but you can see definitely around the edge here and up here. This has actually collected some carbon buildup. Quite sticky. So we'll clean that up. We'll get a new gasket ordered. See if we can order the bolt too. Maybe we can. I have an Oregon dealer book, so I can order from Oregon. We'll see what we can do there. But I had some fuel spill out, and that has been the #1 complaint. So I'm starting to wonder. Oh, okay. So, new developments here. Okay, so there's like this fucking valve here. It's actually bubbling now. So, yeah, it's pouring fuel out of it. And that's coming from this line here, which goes into the fuel tank. Which I don't believe is supposed to do that. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to drain the fuel out of this. Now that I know where it's actually really coming from, I mean, it doesn't really necessarily have to deal with the exhaust, but the exhaust has its own issues. So we are going to fix that as well as cleaning this thing up and getting it looking brand new. By the time we're done with this thing, it will look brand new. It'll run great. I am going to look at my book, see if we can find some parts, some gaskets, and all that stuff. We'll get those suckers ordered, and then we'll put it back together. But all the linkages are fine. The hoses are fine. What we'll do here is we'll spray this out. Now that we got that somewhat cleaned up, we can actually inspect it a little bit better. See, the only problem I have with this Jonsered saw, 525 has a check valve or an overflow is normally what they look at it as, but it goes all the way over here and down into right here. So while your chain's spinning, if your fuel overflows or whatever, it spills out on your chain, which doesn't make any sense, because that's, if your chain is hotter than heck, that sucker's gonna catch fire. You know, if you like accidentally run out of oil or whatever and your chain heats up, it's going to catch your saw on fire, which is a very poor design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this thing apart and I'm going to see whether or not I can relocate that or something. Because I don't like it in that position. Because it runs all the way along the back side of the carburetor. And then down underneath the inlet fuel. And then comes down into right here. Right there. And it's just pouring out. I don't know if it's like a one-way check valve or what, but we're gonna find out. So, anyways. I'm going to go ahead and cut here, and I am going to get this sucker all cleaned up, and then we'll come back to you.